Hello there. You are welcome to yet another insightful episode of your favorite podcast show, ACTPod, our story, our continent. My name is Abiodun and I am going to be your host on this episode. Today I'm going to be having a very exciting conversation with someone that I think is doing really great stuff in Africa. Yes, he is Michael Sunbola. He is the founder of Lagos Foodbank, and today we'll be discussing mobilizing for social change, the Lagos Food Bank story. You're welcome, Michael Sunbola.
Thank you very much for
Thank
having
you.
me.
Thank you
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you too. We're really, really glad that, you were able to make this.
Good.
We researched you on internet and we see that you're doing really great stuff, for Africa and being African yourself. So I want to say
Thank you.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we would usually start with knowing our guest and then we dive into what you have been doing. So tell us, who is Michael Sunbola and how did you get to start Lagos Food Bank?
Okay, so I am a food system activist. I really love, the idea of giving hope to people. I'm a humanitarian and also a legal practitioner by profession and, of course, by purpose, Lagos Food Bank Initiative and the work we do to serve the vulnerable community. So essentially, for me, the idea behind the Lagos Food Bank came, as a result of the gap that we noticed, in the society, the food gap, the hunger gap, and the fact that, food is one of the most basic element or essential ingredients for survival and what every living thing needs to actually be alive. And saying that there becomes a problem where that essential, ingredient or element of food is not available or within the reach of people. So I became so kind of concerned at some point in my life, as a legal practitioner, and then I started thinking in a direction I felt was out of norm for me. And I felt, okay, this is something a bit different. And why am I thinking in this direction? And I started searching through my soul, checking, looking from the, hindsight and seeing how my journey had been in life, what I'd been through, my childhood experience. And I'm trying to try to create that connection and seeing why my mind or my God's feeling is leading me in that direction. So, and then, just to give a bit of a perspective to, what actually led to the food bank, the establishment of the food bank in 2015. Right. So for me, I kind of had a very challenging childhood. And of course, there were several times, as a child, I went to school with no food, went to bed on empty stomach, started fending for myself at the age of 6 and my siblings. So it was quite a challenging experience for a child growing up. Right. Of course, my parents, they are one of the most, hardworking people I've known. They are my heroes and mentor and all of that. And of course, built that resilience in all of us. Right. But where income is not constant or where there is no regular means of income, of course, food insecurity and hunger is inevitable. So those were the kind of challenges that I could draw upon. Of course, it all happened, things picked up, we moved on, started doing well as a legal practitioner. And but at the point in my life, I started thinking towards that. Not that I had the money or anything to actually, start becoming a philanthropist. I never even thought of it. I never even, but I felt, okay, this was a problem that I kind of have a connection with. And with the passion and the fire that was burning in me at the time, knowing that, yes, I think this is the direction I think I want to, I just moved into the whole space with the passion I have that, okay, this is the right path for me to take. Not that I actually jettison my legal field, of course, I still continued
Okay.
side by side. But of course, as the work of the food bank started, the I became more exposed to a whole lot of the challenges the vulnerable people face in the society, and the fact that what we are doing had to then come into play in helping to bridge that gap. And one of the things that actually kind of motivated me the more was the way people started rallying around the efforts, and I didn't even know what I was going into, how challenging it would be. But one of the things that actually kept me going at the beginning was the number of people that immediately joined and wanted to, help further the vision. So I that kind of encouraged me, like, if people are showing this much interest, why would I want to, let people down? And then continue, because I just, but the point is that the whole journey started, and the food bank started as the first indigenous food bank in Nigeria. There was no template for us to work with. We just moved in and then started doing research about food banks in other climes and saying, okay, if this could work in other climes, why not in Nigeria? And not that people are actually not hungry, and not that there are no vulnerable people, but how come there is so much gap, and of course there is no national food bank by the government or the state, or there is no food bank. Of course there are initiatives that are supporting people with food, but the food bank as an entity, as a structure that kind of leverages on collaborative partnerships to help reach people, there wasn't something like that. So I felt, okay, this is something that we can actually create that path for other people to follow and all of that. So the journey started, and I must say that it's actually been it's been very, very fulfilling, and seeing the number of people, the lives that we're touching, and the hope that we give people. You see, when we talk of the fact that the challenges that our country is facing, even as at then in 2016, we started, of course, the got registered in 2015, but the food bank kickstarted officially in 2016, February 14. And that was when the country was in recession. And seeing that at least more than half of our population are multidimensionally poor. And of course, poverty is the mother of hunger. So, and the more people tell their stories, the more people are more, we are seeing the impact. And that, of course, gave me that impetus, that encouragement to continue. But one of the challenge we had at that point at the beginning was, it was becoming really cumbersome. The burnout was setting in, and the whole problem was looking so big and overwhelming. And I was like, okay, so is this how I'm going to continue? Just trying to solve a problem that looks really big, and it doesn't even look like one is moving the needle in any way. And then
Because the problem is huge.
yeah, and then it was looking like, you know, and then I just, and then we make maybe some requests, applications, and they all get turned down. And you kept asking yourself, what is it that, is it I'm not doing something right, or is it I'm not solving a problem? But this is a problem. I felt this problem. I had a fair share of this problem, and I knew how kind of how it was then at the time, like how it felt, right? And I kind of believe that this is a problem we are solving. Why are we not getting the funding we need and all of that? So because I was using my savings, I was at the point I was going to sell my car to continue, because we're kind of running out of funds. But the thing is, when you are doing something that is kind of helping solve problem, bridging the gap, you would never get to a point where you are kind of stranded. At that point, when you are getting to the point where you'll be stranded, a true test to know that you're actually on the right path is help will come at some point, and then get you out of that quagmire or that
Right.
impasse that you are in, and then you kind of move on again. So those are usually the test of doing the right thing. So and those help came at the right time. I didn't eventually sell my car again. A brief came in that they paid me in foreign currency, and then I actually poured in the cash again, and I continue. And the rest is history. And over time, we started, drawing up programs and started streamlining the impact, started looking at how do we measure impact, how do we create programs, how do we, ensure that what we are doing is actually measurable, how then we started creating programs. And then the first one we created was a nutrition program that kind of targets children, malnourished children.
Okay.
So we started partnering with the primary healthcare centers across, first started with Agege and then moved into Alimosho and some others. And then we told them that, say, your PHCs are not equipped to give food to malnourished children. We have a warehouse that warehouses food and baby formulas and some of these things. And when these mothers come in here, you can refer them to us so that we can put them on a plan so that the baby can come out of malnourishment. So he was looking like, maybe what we're saying wasn't kind of, maybe it wasn't kind of obvious to them what we wanted to do. But we then just started anyway, and then we took pictures of the ones we did within 2 months, took it to them before and after, and then they took us more seriously and started referring parents. And once, the first port of call you go to as a vulnerable person is your PHC when you are sick or your baby is this, so you don't go to the big hospitals, right? So, and we told them that, when they come in, just refer them to us, and we will take up the responsibility of helping the child grow out of malnutrition. And we started like that, and we saw for the first time in my life, I never knew that there are actually children who are malnourished, like to their ribs and emaciated in Lagos.
We used
I
to see those
just
things on
on the
TV.
internet, on TV, maybe in the north. But until the work started and they started referring babies to us. And thank God we have the nutritionists, the who were also kind of volunteers and came in and then started putting in their own, because I don't have the background, I'm not a nutritionist and all of that. But the point is, at that
Right.
time, those ones came in and were kind of helping. And of course, we were able to attend to more children. And today, that program is one of the most successful programs. We've actually been able to attend to a whole lot of malnourished children, basically. And
I actually want to touch on, I think you've actually taken us through a journey, already about how Lagos Food Bank started, and I could feel the passion in your voice even when you were talking about the problem, and it's really is a huge one. You mentioned along the line that you had people who rallied around you, and I understand that you've mobilized tens of thousands of volunteers for Lagos Food Bank. What was it about you, that attracted these, kind of sincere people? What was it? Was there something you did different? What exactly was it that made them rally around you like this?
okay, so you see, for me, I believe that there are a number of things that people can see through, even if you're not talking. Like human beings can see through it. Your energy, the passion you have, your how genuine that the cause is. And of course, people do their research. They want to be sure that, okay, this is what we can actually go above and beyond to be a part of, right? And one thing I know that I was able to do, right, was, of course, make the vision very clear at every point in time. That, say, this is a problem we want to solve. This problem is very apparent. It's on our face, like we can see it every day, right? But we can at least do a little within our space to help assuage the plight of the vulnerable population. And at the point I start telling my stories, and a number of them, of course, started keying into the vision. So the thing is that for one to be actually be able to actually have people rally around, the vision of course must be clear,
Yeah.
and the communication of the vision must of course be clear as well. Consistency is one thing that is very key because you know, if one is not consistent, some people would stay back and just watch and see, okay, let's see how far this is going to go. Let's
Right.
see, that doubt is always there. And then some would say that, oh, I'd actually been watching your organization from afar for the past 7 months, but I decided to join today. Some organizations would be like, oh, we've been checking to see, just observing your organization, but we want to donate today. So you would realize that people do not immediately, just key in, but they take their time to
Time.
study and see how good this is or how
See if they can
genuine,
trust
if they
you,
can
right?
trust the initiative. And over time, the level of consistency, of course, helps rally people. People keep coming in, and then as they join, they see that it's actually engaging and they're actually reaching the people, and the people they are reaching are at least if you think your situation is bad, and
You
then
now
you
see
see the ones
bad.
that are that are more serious and more in a worse predicament than you are, then you want to actually invite more people to be a part of. And what we've done really well is to ensure that we are reaching, because a number of people fall into this category of food insecure in Nigeria because more than half of our population. But when you see that the people you are reaching are actually the vulnerable of the vulnerable of the vulnerable, then you want to tell more people, okay, please come in and let's see how we can, be a part of this. So the vision being clear, communication
Yeah.
of the vision being clear, consistency, resilience, and of course maybe strong leadership is very important as well.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So you have mentioned that you do nutrition program. For those who are those who are malnourished. There's this saying that teach me how to fish. Don't just give me fish. So beyond providing food for the communities that you serve, what else do you do such that if you leave this community today, the beneficiaries that you have served, they can continue from where they are? Are there other things that you do for your beneficiaries?
Okay, so one thing we over time, kind of evolved into was how do we ensure that our solution is sustainable?
Yeah.
And first making the organization itself sustainable and making the beneficiary solution to the beneficiary sustainable. So sustainability became part of the kind of process change we did in the organization to actually help us attract more volunteers and more funds.
Awesome.
And we came up with this program, which is the backyard farming program. So we have a large pool of beneficiaries that are registered on our database, and we want to ensure that, okay, we want to get them out of the hunger line. So we partnered with the Ministry of Agriculture, Lagos State, and we told them that we need facilitators to come and train our beneficiaries on how to start a backyard farm, and then started looking for funds on how to actually set them up on vegetable farm, snail farm, and poultry farm. So with a small amount of money, just seed, let me put it in quote, investment in these beneficiaries. We go check their houses and see that they have a small space that they can use to plant. And having done that, they go on a 2 weeks training and with us. And after that, we set them up. So started putting this program out there that, okay, this is what we are doing to help our beneficiaries, earn income, give them economic opportunities for them to feed themselves and, of course, sell part of the produce that they make. And when the first time I went on field visits, doing the monitoring and evaluation, I knew that, yes, this is a very, very good program that we have to scale. And hearing the testimonials from the beneficiaries, like when they were down, when they were broke, they sold part of the chicken, they got vegetable, and seeing the joy in their heart that, yes, it comes with a whole lot of dignity for them to feed themselves and sell part of what they have. It's a way to actually make them more resilient, more more self-sufficient kind of, and self-reliant as well, so they don't get to depend on the food bank. So the point is, and at the point, one person came who has an HR experience and was like, "Oh, I think there's a way we can rally around these beneficiaries and We noticed that they have a lot of, expertise, native knowledge about some things, and they have these skills. We don't have to teach them new skills. Why can't we just help build their skills a into build CVs for them and connect them with people that need,
Their
some kind of
services.
their services,
Okay.
like drivers, like
Awesome.
painters, like, hairdressers, and of course we were able to put interview these people and then started advertising their skills. So we came up with Lagos Foodbank job placement program.
Oh, awesome.
So we started advertising their skills for those who need drivers, those who need caterers, those who need house help, and the rest of it. So we started connecting them with jobs, and it was such it was such a very fulfilling experience for me, seeing
Wow.
them
Wow.
have jobs and they were able to feed their family, and some of them even say, "Oh, I want to donate to the food bank," and it started from just, the taking that step to say, I want to solve a problem. But the vision usually would not come out fully formed. It would,
Yes.
over time,
Yes.
just.
Goes through a process. Yes.
So, saying that, and we now have, the job, the Lagos Food Bank Job Placement Program. Now we kind of have, all our corporate, most of the corporate organizations reach out to us. Oh, we need drivers. So we provide as many drivers. And for some of the beneficiaries, they have maybe cousins, children, their husband who are maybe drivers who are do other jobs. We connect them to them, and then we provide these services for free to our and then we even have partnership with some corporate organizations because they actually need our services to provide, kind of menial workers for them. So those, to answer that question, those are the programs that we are doing to help our beneficiaries, become more self-reliant and get them out of the hunger line. And we are doing this really well, providing this support for them.
I so love your story. You've gone from meeting a particular need, perhaps based on the experience that you've had, meeting a need, and then looking even outwards. You are thinking outside the box. Very soon, maybe we'll have a Lagos Food Bank housing.
Yes, it's something that we look forward to,
Because
like a shelter thing.
yeah.
And but of course that is still, in the long term. But what we are looking at in the short term now is, we now want to make food more affordable.
Awesome.
Ordinarily we don't sell food, but we want to have maybe like a business model separate from, where we actually get the food cheaper, or probably get grant to make the food cheaper, and then the communities we serve, what you would ordinarily buy for maybe 1,000 naira, maybe if you are registered on our program, you could get it for like maybe 300 naira, and it kind of reduces that burden of high cost of food. And so that's what we are looking at. So we want to have like a farm where we get these food items, and then we have community champions, or the dealers in each community that can sell this food, and then they have a list of people that can come and buy at the cheaper amounts. So that is what we are looking at in the long term. So you buy, but of course at
But
a
cheaper.
very
I should
cheaper
come and
amount.
enroll on your program. No, but I think you really have you have would I call it out of this world ideas that you don't just see your beneficiaries as projects, as people to just work with for now, and then at the end of the day they fall back, and then they become hungry again once you leave the community. You're doing things that actually stay with them. I like the fact that you have built sustainability not just into your organization, but also into the beneficiaries as well. So if they get jobs, for example, they're able to sustain their families. So if, for example, I'm one of the beneficiaries, I get a job, I have, a backyard farm, I can farm perhaps my own pepper by myself,
Oh, yes.
my vegetables, I'm
and,
sustaining
and, they're,
myself.
and they're nutritious too. Like you're
Exactly.
eating close
And
to
they're
the ground,
fresh,
very
fresh
organic.
right from my backyard.
Yes.
I'd really love to, please, make me one of your beneficiaries.
Please, you're welcome.
I really am
You
proud
help
of
us tell the stories better.
exactly. I love what you're doing with Lagos Food Bank, and
Thank
we're
you.
so proud that an African is doing great stuff for Africans. We're not just looking to have the Western world fund us for everything that we need. We have people right here who can actually do what
yes.
we need
Oh,
to
yes.
get done for us. Thank you so much for that. How exactly do you continue to build resilience in the face of this? Because I can imagine that you face challenges you've mentioned earlier, but how do you keep going on? How do you keep going? How don't you get weary? You and your volunteers.
Okay, so Maybe I will start from me because I'm always very constant in the picture. um, so the thing is, and I've said this on different fora, that like, you find what you can die for and live for it. So they have to you like the passion kind of drives a whole lot of things. Passion keeps you going. Passion makes you surmount challenges, makes you resilient. And when you now go from passion to maybe obsession, then that's another level. Like you become obsessed with the problem you want to solve, and then you become unstoppable. So each time, no, not that when one doesn't get tired. Like there are times that you are tired, especially when life hits you, and then you have your own personal
Yeah,
problems you're
issues
dealing
to
with,
deal
your
with.
family, everything, and
Yes.
then you're asking questions. So in the midst of this, am I still supposed to? But you see, the
Continue.
energy just comes. And then the moment you still like, okay, let me continue this, and then you see yourself just go above your own problem, and then everything just gets solved. And the thing is, the fact that you are giving yourself to others doesn't mean that you don't have your own issues to deal with. But the point is that the more you continue to give yourself, the you get a bit, you get kind of above the problem you have, and then there's something that just sees you through your own problem because you're actually being selfless and giving yourself out to people. So the point, the passion, and then the seeing what the end picture looks like, kind of keeps you going. And then for the volunteers, yes, volunteers get tired too. And one thing we do is we constantly call for volunteers. We never get tired of having volunteers. We have about 24,000 of them. So
Yeah.
if at a point maybe life happen, you travel out or you move to another state, there are people who constantly sign up every day. At least we get about in a month over like 300 to 400 people sign up in a month. And and for every intervention we want to have, we always oversubscribed. We're always oversubscribed. So we have to
Wow.
close the form. So we're good. And that also kind of made me realize that, see, Nigeria is one of the blessed, most resourceful country ever that one can be in. We have what it takes. We have a lot of young, energetic people who
Yes, we
want
do.
to do and be, want to just give back, want to just contribute. And who says that the culture of volunteering is not very robust in this part of the world? That is a big lie. We are always oversubscribed, and these are people who are not paid, and they are also willing to pay. They buy t-shirt before they join, and they
Wow.
understand we are trying to raise funds.
Wow.
So every person who joins gets to buy the t-shirt and cap, and then and they're happy to do that. They buy even more, 3, 4, 5, and they know that we're actually trying to raise funds. So look at the order you have to pass through. So there are people who are very intentional about what they want to do, the problem they want to solve, and they're happy they have a platform. So the fact that they are being intentional about it, them going very weary or getting tired or not, it's not in the picture basically, unless maybe life
Yeah.
happens, maybe they travel out, but they always love to be a part of what we do, seeing that they're actually giving back and solving problems.
Oh, awesome, awesome. This has been a great conversation. So if you had a word for, young people out there who would love to start something like this, sometimes people feel like they have an idea, but they're just weary because they don't know if they would be able to, communicate that idea enough, or if people will be able to trust them enough. What is that one word you have for someone out there who has an idea and they would love to, make it grand, just like what you're doing?
Okay, so the thing is, start from what you have, from where you are. Like the Lagos Foodbank started from a family property. Like, and before we moved out, it was just a small space. And take that step and be consistent. Consistency is actually the key to the success or the end goal, or the visibility that you need. If one is the true test of your passion, your commitment to the work you are doing is how consistent you
You
are.
are, yeah.
So if you are not consistent, you would you would give up, and then the effort you have put in dies with that the moment you stop. So, and being consistent requires being versatile as well.
Yeah.
Try not don't just stay in one this thing. Leverage on technology. Use the social media. Be your own voice. The mainstream media and all of that might be too expensive for you, but start something. And open a social media account and continue to communicate your work. And
Until
then
you're found.
until you're found, basically. So yeah, just take a step and start. And of course, make sure that you have a connection to the work you are doing. Ensure that there is a strong sense of why you are doing what you are doing. Because if that strong sense of why is not there, there's a higher tendency that one would actually, give up along the line, because this terrain is actually a very difficult
Very
work
tough
to
one.
do, to do, this type of work. But the point is that the strong sense of why will keep you going every time. Yeah.
Thank you so much, once again for,
Very well.
honoring our invitation to be on this show.
Thank
So
you.
there you have it from Tunde's Michael
Michael.
Sunbola himself. I just wanted to reiterate your word again when you said, find what you can die for and you will live for it. I think that is so great. If I'm going with anything, from this conversation, that would be it. So
Very well.
there you have it on today's episode of ACTPod. Do listen again next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to ACTPod. For inquiries and feedback, please reach us on actpod@actrustfoundation.org. Follow us on social media at ACTFoundation_ on Instagram and Twitter, and Aspire Coronation Trust Foundation on Facebook. The show is proudly powered by Aspire Coronation Trust Foundation. ACTPod, our story, our continent.